I want you to picture something. You've just turned 65, you've worked for over 4 decades, paid your taxes, and done everything society told you to do. Now, it's time to retire. You sit down with a financial advisor to discuss your options. They pull up your accounts and look at the numbers. Then, they look at you with an expression you'll never forget, a mixture of sympathy and discomfort. The number on the screen representing your entire life savings is $88,400. That's it. That is the median reality for American retirees today. It's not a story about bad luck, it's a story about the hidden choices that lead to a financial dead end. Most people live with a hazy, golden-hued vision of retirement. They imagine it as a permanent vacation, a reward for 40 years of showing up. But numbers don't have emotions, and they certainly don't care about your expectations. Let's look at the actual math. The median retirement savings for Americans approaching age 65 isn't $500,000. It isn't even 6 figures. It's $88,400. Think about that number for a second. $88,400 to fund potentially 30 years of life. That's less than $3,000 per year from your savings. You might think, well, that's what Social Security is for. And you're right, it helps. The average Social Security check is about $1,900 a month. When you combine that with drawing down your modest savings, you're looking at roughly $2,200 a month to cover everything. Now, do the math on your current life. Consider the property taxes on a home you thought was an asset. Consider the implicit rent you pay to heat and cool a house that's now too big for you. Consider healthcare costs that tend to explode just as your income vanishes. In most American cities, $2,200 a month doesn't buy a comfortable retirement. It buys a state of constant, low-grade survival. And it's the difference between choosing where to travel and choosing which medications you can afford this month. We've been sold a story that if we just work hard, the end of the road will be paved with gold. But working hard without a strategy for your surplus is just running fast on a treadmill that eventually stops. This isn't a worst-case scenario. This isn't a warning about the unlucky few. This is the statistical reality for half of the people walking past you in the grocery store today. They aren't bad people. They aren't gamblers. They just followed the default path. Whereas in the default path leads to $88,400. If you're currently doing what everyone else is doing, you should expect to get what everyone else is getting. The expression on that financial advisor's face isn't a mistake. It's a mirror. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. This is the actual reality for 50% of the people approaching the finish line right now. You might look at that $88,400 figure and think it's a failure of income. You assume these people simply didn't earn enough, but that's a dangerous misunderstanding of how wealth actually works. I want you to consider 2 different lives. The first belongs to a professional earning $100,000 a year. They have the title, the office, and the respectable zip code. But they also have a default behavior that consumes every dollar before it even hits the bank. They upgrade the SUV every 3 years because that's what people in their circle do. They spend $7 on a latte every morning because they're too busy to brew coffee at home. They eat out 4 nights a week because the kitchen feels like a chore. By the end of the year, this person hasn't just spent their $100,000. They've spent $105,000. They are effectively getting poorer while looking rich. Now, look at the second life. This person earns $50,000, exactly half as much. But they've rejected the default settings of modern consumerism. They drive a 10-year-old sedan that's long since been paid off. They pack a lunch. They find satisfaction in things that don't come with a monthly subscription. This person saves $10,000 every single year. In 10 years, the high earner has a garage full of depreciating metal and a mountain of stress. The modest earner has $100,000 plus compounding interest. The gap between them isn't talent or opportunity, it's the mastery of the small stuff. We tend to wait for a big moment to save, a massive raise, an inheritance, a lucky break. But wealth isn't built in big moments. It's built in the invisible moments. It's the decision to skip the impulse buy at the checkout line. It's the choice to repair the appliance instead of replacing it. It's the discipline to keep your old phone when the new one launches. These are thousands of micro decisions that occur in the background of your life, year after year. Most people call this living, but if your living requires every cent you earn, you aren't living. Bypassing your future self to fund a present you'll soon forget. The $88,400 median retirement balance isn't a tragic accident. It's not a stroke of bad luck from the economy. It is the mathematical inevitable result of thousands of tiny, seemingly insignificant decisions made over 40 years. You don't arrive at a failed retirement all at once. You build it one daily habit at a time. Drive through any suburban neighborhood on a Saturday morning and you'll see them. Massive, lifted pickup trucks sitting in driveways, their chrome wheels gleaming in the sun. The paint is pristine, without a single scratch. If you look into the truck beds, they're spotless, factory fresh. These vehicles have never hauled lumber, never touched a dirt road, and haven't carried anything heavier than a few bags of groceries since they left the lot. In automotive circles, we call these pavement princesses. They are 4,000-pound monuments to an image of capability that the owner never actually uses. Here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. A pavement princess costs between $1,500 and $2,000 every single month when you account for the loan, payment, insurance, and the staggering cost of fuel for a vehicle that gets 14 miles per gallon. Most owners justify this by saying they got a good deal, but they're ignoring the lifestyle multiplier effect. Once you own an $80,000 truck, you can't exactly live in a modest apartment or carry a 5-year-old phone. Everything else in your life has to be upgraded to match the vehicle's status. We call this fake wealth. You are surrounding yourself with the props of a successful life while systematically destroying your actual financial future. Think about the math. A typical 7-year car loan isn't just 84 monthly payments. It is 7 years of mandatory, hard labor. You cannot quit a job you hate. You cannot take a risk on a new career. And you cannot walk away from a toxic boss because that pavement princess in the driveway demands to be fed. You are trading your freedom for the appearance of power. Every time you upgrade your technology or your kitchen appliances just because they feel slightly dated, you are falling for the same trap. You are purchasing objects that depreciate the moment you touch them, using money that could have been buying your future. That $2,000 monthly truck payment, if invested into a simple index fund over those 7 years, would likely grow to over $200,000 in a decade. You aren't just buying a truck. You are buying a truck instead of a decade of freedom. The purchase price on the window sticker is just the entry fee. The real cost is the life you could have lived if you weren't so busy maintaining a lifestyle you don't even enjoy. The choice is yours. Do you want to look capable, or do you want to actually be free? Let's return to that room where you're blowing out your 65th birthday candles. In one version of the future, you're looking at that $88,400 balance and feeling a cold, hollow weight in your chest. You're wondering if you should sell the house, if you can afford the good generic brand of medicine, and how many years you have left before the math simply stops working. But there is another version. In this one, you blow out the candles, look at your partner, and discuss where you'll spend the next 3 months. Not because you're lucky, but because decades ago you decided to stop buying things you didn't need to impress people you didn't like. The difference between these two versions isn't about your starting position. It's about your velocity. Most people believe that if they didn't start investing at 25, the race is already over. That is a convenient lie used to justify continued indulgence. In reality, a 40-year-old who decides to live aggressively, who cuts the lifestyle multiplier effect, sells the pavement princess, and directs 30% of their income into assets, will almost always overtake a 25-year-old who is casually drifting with a 5% savings rate. Velocity matters more than your current spot on the track. You cannot accidentally arrive at financial freedom. It is a deliberate architecture built from the wreckage of the default behavior that society expects of you. It starts with the realization that your stuff isn't just taking up space in your garage. It's taking up space in your future. Every dollar you reclaim from an unnecessary subscription or a status symbol purchase is a brick in the wall of your future security. The room at 65 is waiting for you. The only question is what you'll find when you get there. You can have a house full of implicit rent and a kitchen full of dusty appliances, or you can have the quiet, unshakable confidence of someone who actually owns their time. The math doesn't lie, and it doesn't take sides. It simply reflects the choices you make today, tomorrow, and every Saturday morning at the car dealership or the mall. As the choice is simply whether you want to own your possessions or whether you're comfortable with your possessions owning you.